Once again, welcome back to this channel, Sports Mtaani. Tunawasuka maneno michezo from the eye of the people. What a banging show we have today. AFCON 2024. Why is Kenya not represented? So the AFCON is a biannual continental soccer tournament for African national teams, and it's similar to the CONCACAF Gold Cup. The only difference between the AFCON and CONCACAF Gold Cup is in the Gold Cup, they have invitees. Remember last season, while invite Qatar as a guest team in the tournament. But you can also equate it to the Euro Cup or the Asian Cup, and some kind of way the Copa Americas. But the difference is that the Euro Cup and Asian Cup are played every 4 years. But AFCON is played biannually every 2 years. I think the only difference might be because all of them represent continental teams playing in the tournament. So the 2024 edition is going to be hosted by the Côte d'Ivoire, that's the Ivory Coast. It starts on the 11th of January, and I think the final is going to be played on, no, it starts on the 13th of January, and the finals is going to be played on the 11th of February. It's a 1-month tournament. So Kenya is not there because Kenya did not qualify for this event. The only East African representation, East Africa has 2 teams, that's the Democratic Republic of Congo, then there's also the Tanzania. So those are the 2 East African representation. Tuwashangilie tukiona hapa hivyo, hizo ndio team zetu tunasukuma. Na pia in some kind of way Zambia has a soft spot for East Africa. The question is, why did Kenya not qualify for this event? That's the question. Remember, Kenya was pooled with Cameroon, Namibia, and our neighbors Burundi. So they were in Group C, and they did not play any match in these qualifications. And the reason for this is because Kenya was disqualified by CAF. CAF is the federation, the Confederation of African Football. They manage soccer like UEFA in Africa. So CAF disqualified Kenya because there was an existing ban by FIFA that was imposed on Kenya in February of 2022. So because FIFA had banned Kenya in 2022, that's the Bureau of FIFA Council. They banned Kenya in February 2022 in line with the Article 16 of the FIFA statute. And this statute says that FIFA can temporarily suspend with immediate effect a member association deemed to have grossly violated its obligations. So that's the reason why Kenya haiko kwenye itona. But story ni, we need to understand hii serious violation of obligations zake ni gani, because that's what FIFA stated. Alisema tu tunaban Kenya. Kenya haizi cheza kwa any affiliated tournament ya FIFA, and CAF, you know, ni representation ya FIFA. So any tournament CAF imeorganize also here, it affects Kenya. But they said the reason was because of your Article 16, gross violation of obligation. So we want to know here, gross violation, what is it, or what do they mean, and who did it? Because it said the member association, so I think they were referring to the Federation of Kenya. So if you want to understand hii kitu vizuri, the best thing we can do is to look at where the rain started beating us. So in 2019, there was another AFCON that was being played, hosted by Egypt, and Kenya participated. Remember, we're in the same group as the current or reigning champions Senegal, Algeria, and our neighbors Tanzania. So in that tournament, yeah, hapo ndio tulitoka na scandal. Na hii scandal ndio ina lead to what FIFA is saying like serious violation of its obligations. So let's understand what's hii scandal ni gani. So let me let you know, in November of 2021, there was an audit that was done by the sports registrar that unearthed some gross financial misappropriation or misconduct by the federation. So your time, I think the Minister of Sports then was called Amina Mohammed. There's some cry somewhere, and then they decided, oh, because of this cry, let's do a financial audit in the federation so that we find out what the concern is by certain people. So the reason was because there was failure to account for some funds that the government and sponsors gave the federation to prepare the national team when they were going to play in the AFCON of 2019. So this included the kulikuwa na pesa ilitolewa na serikali 244 million. Watengeze team wa prepare Harambee Stars before end the year 2019. Then there was 50 million that then Deputy President William Ruto pledged to give the team in case they qualified, which they did, and the money was given. So that 50 million, and there was other monies that were given by various sponsors. So when the team came back, so in November of 2022, November of 2021, the government decided to do an audit about these monies. So when they did, they found out there was gross mismanagement or misappropriation or corruption or tumbocrats walikula pesa hapa hivi. Tuite tu venye iko. So let me give you an example. So in the audit, they found out that the players, out of the money, that the 50 million that was given then Deputy President Ruto, players were paid 960,000. Each player was paid 960,000. But on the ukiangalia kwa reports walikuwa napata, documentation ilikuwa inasema ati players walilipwa 1.7 million each. Then you know there are certain voted when you say that players were given, it's so hard to follow up because it's your word against mine. But sasa because of your trail, kuna ma players pia walitoa ukweli. So you do. That's one example of where kulikuwa na discrepancy. Then there's the issue of, because according to the federation, once this audit came out, they decided to justify. So to them, they said like, oh, this money that we're given, most of it we spent on the trip that they went to France for 3 weeks pre-tournament training in France, which also Senegal were training there. Then they say in France, the coach insisted they go there. The then coach, Sebastien Meunier, insisted. Now they were trying to implicate ama insinuate that who coach ndio nikaa yende aliorganize hiyo tona. So in case of lawama, they were trying to push blame on the coach. So there they say they used 66 million Kenya shillings for that 3 weeks training. Alafu tena walikuwa nasema ati other than hiyo kuna training mbili walifanya na Madagascar and Democratic Republic of Congo. Remember, these two teams were also participants in the 2019 AFCON. So the federation was justifying that part of the money they used to prepare for a friendly match between these two nations. And lastly, they said majority also of the amount was used to pay the players. And they were justifying that the team morale needed to be high, the players needed to be paid well so that they go play, which is fine. But according to the audit, the amount claimed to have paid the players is not the amount that was paid. So in line with this, Amina Mohammed decided to disband the Federation Executive Committee, aliwachuja. So a caretaker committee that was supposed to run for 6 months. I think ilikuwa Justice Laro Ringera was heading the committee. It was supposed to hold on to office for 6 months as a transition committee, leading up into an election that was to bring in new officials. Then remember, during this time, the chairman of the federation, alishikwa, he was arrested. Then akatolewa on bond, then later rearrested again, because there were monies that were given to them by the government and sponsors that was misappropriated. So this is when FIFA struck. And that is where FIFA said the FIFA tries to justify it and says like, no third party should interfere with the organization, operations of its member associations. So FIFA decided to ban Kenya based on that, and that's when CAF disbanded Kenya. CAF disqualified Kenya from the 2024 AFCON, and that's why Kenya is not playing in this year's African Cup of Nations. Sports Mtaani, tunawasuka maneno michezo from the eye of the people. Peace.